Standard textbooks require you to hold static facts in your head while flipping through monochrome pages. But when you're piloting a ship through a high-velocity asteroid field, your brain shifts into a state of total, visceral engagement. Building an interactive game turns that dynamic on its head, converting a difficult subject into a mechanical trap where the only way to win is to master the material. This is the process of peer-to-peer game design. You take a curriculum topic, like the laws of motion or cell biology, and weaponize those facts, turning them into the very systems the player must navigate. To pull this off, you follow the escalation sequence, a three-phase structure that moves from baseline survival to between-level knowledge gates, and finally, a boss battle. By translating passive information into playable mechanics, you create a loop where the player learns your subject matter simply by trying to stay alive. The baseline loop is where you map abstract ideas to physical objects that the player can touch, collect, or avoid. In this biology example, players collect mitochondria orbs for an energy boost. This forces the player to associate the term with its function. Simultaneously, enemies represent misconceptions. Fake news sprites act as obstacles that multiply, visually demonstrating how misinformation spreads. Every interaction is governed by collision logic. You define the exact moment a sprite touches the player, determining if the result is a score increase or a drop in health. By increasing the enemy speed and the density of the swarm across 3 levels, you force the player to encounter your educational content more frequently. When the gameplay behavior is synced with the curriculum theme, the player absorbs the lesson as a byproduct of their strategy. Between the chaotic levels, you provide a safe zone. This is the knowledge gate, where the action pauses so the player can prove they understand the concepts they just faced. These knowledge gates use clear, structured formats, like multiple choice, true or false, or matching questions, to ensure the player can't progress without identifying the correct information. Answering the challenge correctly triggers a themed power-up. In a forestry-themed game, a correct answer might unlock the mighty oak smash, giving the player a physical advantage in the next level. If the player gets it wrong, the game provides immediate feedback. It explains why the chosen answer failed, reinforcing the correct fact before the player attempts the challenge again. This cycle makes the learning feel like a reward. The player begins to view educational facts as tools for their own survival. The boss battle represents the final stage of the sequence. Here, the game moves away from simple survival and toward complex problem-solving. Level 1 required basic recall, but the boss demands higher-order thinking. To win, the player has to apply the concepts they've learned in a high-pressure environment. Random guessing is no longer an option. The boss's weaknesses are hidden within the curriculum, requiring the player to synthesize different ideas to find a way to win. As the designer, you build the boss's attacks and patterns to reflect the most difficult or nuanced parts of your subject, ensuring the final fight is a literal representation of the topic's core challenges. Securing a win against the boss proves the player can navigate the relationships between facts and apply them in a functional way. The final victory screen provides a concrete summary of the lesson. It lists 3 to 5 core facts from the curriculum, ensuring the player walks away with a clear understanding of the learning goals. While the player learns through survival, the creator achieves a deeper level of insight. Designing the game requires you to balance educational accuracy with engaging difficulty. To write the wrong answer feedback and scale the power-ups correctly, you have to break the subject down into its most basic, logical components. This process of engineering a learning system for others is what leads to true academic mastery. You understand the material because you had to build the world it lives in. Open your design templates. Pick your subject. Start building the escalation sequence for your own